What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I am your host, Eric, and today we are going to talk once again about how we affect change within our community, within our local unions, and this type of thing. And so I want to first ask you guys to hit the like button. Second, I want to ask you to subscribe to the channel. Thirdly, I want you to hit the notification bell. Fourthly, I'd like you to drop comments and let me know how I'm doing and if there's anything you want to know about. And lastly, share these videos. It's of utmost importance that we spread this information so that we can all learn how to improve our circumstances of living, our status of citizenship, however you want to talk about, however you want to describe it, our quality of life. As union members, we are called to work towards bettering our quality of life constantly, not just for ourselves, but also for our families, our friends, and anyone who is close to us, which essentially means working people, all working people. And so why does this even come up again? Well, it's come up because I was browsing Facebook, and as I scrolled through my Facebook page, my news feed, some of the pages and groups that many Local 26 members frequent had a couple of posts that raised interesting questions that stirred interesting debate. Two in particular. One of them asked a important question that we all need to ask ourselves, which was, why is it that when you compare the wage package at Local 26 and the cost of living of our jurisdiction with other local unions of comparative size or comparative cost of living, why is it that we are so far behind them in the pay, in our pay? So there's a pay gap. And why is that? A lot of times you'll hear the excuses that, well, we don't have the market share. Well, our jurisdiction is very large and many of our members live outside of the work jurisdiction on the outer skirts, and so cost of living is less expensive there. And these are all excuses that are put up, honestly, because there is no way that you can tell me that 90% of your work is in one area and you can't earn enough money to live in the area that you're working in. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me personally. But how do you go about addressing that, right? So that was one thing, the wages thing. And there was an interesting debate because people were talking about, Long Island and Philly and these different locals. And one brother pointed out specifically, he said, you can even look to the locals that have a lower cost of living, and they got a higher pay scale than we do. And so that debate was lively, but it brings up the question, how do you go about changing these things? The other issue that came up that stirred debate was offsite parking. I don't know how familiar you are with the construction scene, but on many projects, sometimes there's no parking on the site. And so they ask you to park off-site, which means you park in a lot that's a ways away from the job site. And then what happens is the contractor will run a shuttle between the parking lot and the job site to shuttle workers to the job site. And that's all fine and dandy. But here's the thing. You're expected to be at the gang box ready to work at start time. So if start time is 6 a.m., you're expected at the gang box for start time. Well, how early then do you have to get to the site parking lot to be shuttled to the job? In many instances, it's 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 45 minutes early so that you can be at the gang box by 6 a.m. But here's the kicker. At the end of the day, many times, you're not allowed to get on the shuttle and start heading back until quitting time, which around here is usually around 2 o'clock. which doesn't put you back at your car until 2:30 to 2:45, and you're not compensated for that travel time back to your car. So back in the day, it used to be you come in on your dime, you leave on their dime, and that was a common practice. That's how I was first introduced to it down in Miami when I started with the Brotherhood down there in the IBEW. It's now morphed into you come in on your dime, you're gonna leave on your dime. And so the question was brought up, how in the heck, why is this okay? And in my view, it's not okay. It's not okay at all. In fact, it's a hot issue because off-site parking has been debated for many, many years. So much so that in the last 2 negotiating cycles, there was an email set up for members to send suggestions, and I know without a doubt, members sent suggestions about off-site parking and addressing it. And when this topic came up on the news feed and I started reading the comments, I said, man, let me really look at my inside wireman agreement and just see if there's any language at all regarding off-site parking and how it should be addressed. And to my surprise, there's no language there. And the only reason that it's surprising is that I know that for 2 negotiating cycles, we've been asking about off-site parking. And yet, and still, here we are 6 years later and getting ready to enter a new negotiating cycle next year, and we still have no language on off-site parking. So then that raises the question, how do we change this? You're not going to like the answer. You're not going to like the answer at all. It's going to sound so cliche. But here it is. You have to begin by attending your union meeting. While you're at your union meeting, bring a notebook. You need to take notes of what's going on at the union meeting so that you can go back to your job site and talk to the members there about the union meeting. More importantly than that, talk to the members around you on the job site and get an idea of who agrees with you. And if there's a few people that agree with you, make a plan to attend the union meeting together. You got to remember, this is your house. The union hall is your house. Your money pays the salaries of every elected position there. Your money pays the mortgage on the building. It's your house. You cannot be intimidated to go to your house and ask what the hell's going on. Why can't we address these issues that have been plaguing us for years? It's your house. But I also got to warn you, it's going to take work because it's more than just going to a union meeting. You have to talk to your siblings at work about these issues. When you're at the union meeting, you have to get up under good of the union and make the conversation happen. Ask the questions. You got to sit there and say, hey, why? I have a question. For a couple years now, we've been looking to get this issue addressed, and I just want some clarification on why it hasn't happened. And the more folks that you bring to a union meeting means you're going to have more questions from different perspectives. You're going to get a better idea of why things are the way they are. The benefit is twofold. Number one, you educate the people that are at the union meeting about the issues that are relevant. That's number one. But number two, you force the elected representation to answer the questions and give you comprehensive reasons. And I just thought of a third fold. A lot of times, it can be overwhelming to go up against these contractors and in a negotiation, right? But with your support, you give them the fortitude to know that the membership is behind them, and it gives them that extra push to maybe negotiate just a little bit more savagely on your behalf. So these are the things you can do within your local to improve your situation and to improve the contract situation for everybody. It's hard work though. It's you don't plant a seed, right, and expect the harvest tomorrow. No, you plant the seed and then you water the seed, and so that's cost, right? It costs you to water the seeds. You got to pay for the water. You got to provide sunlight. You have to tend to it. You got to keep the weeds away. You got to allow it to flourish. And after your hard work and diligence, after your efforts, after your cost, is when you get the harvest and you reap the fruit of what you sowed. It's the same thing with a union, okay? It's not gonna change overnight. You can't expect it to. But what you are doing is planting seeds and tending to your harvest, and tending to your crop. Because come harvest time, we're gonna reap what we sow. That's the entire purpose of all these little videos, is to plant little seeds here and there and to get you thinking. It's the purpose of it all. It's to improve our local union and to improve our living standards, our status of living, our quality of life. Now, I talked to you about there being a couple things here. So within your community, get active. How do you get active? You get active by volunteering, you get active by organizing. And I'll give you an example. On October 16th, this is a reminder for those of you who have signed up. For those of you who didn't sign up, don't worry, we're gonna do this again. You'll have your opportunities. On October 16th, we are meeting at the Vietnam War Memorial at 6 a.m. I'll have coffee and donuts, and we're gonna set up. You need to get there early because we need to sign the waiver forms so that we can participate in the volunteer action of washing the Vietnam War Memorial and the Korean War Memorial. This is a very important action and near and dear to me. It's a solidarity building action, and I love doing it, and everyone that comes out to do it has a great time when they're there, and I'm hoping for another wonderful event. But that's one thing, right? You organize solidarity events. Now you're talking to people doing good work. Talk while you're there. Talk about issues that you're facing at work. Talk about solutions. Talk about what you plan to do about it. These are the things you want to do. Number two, I talked about community. On October 29th, there will be a labor walk. That labor walk will take place in South Stafford, and it's going to be for Abigail Spanberger, who is going up against someone who is an extreme right, MAGA Republican type. Someone who believes you cannot get pregnant if you get raped. These are the things this person has said. So what we're doing, we're going to make sure that we put our best effort forward to not allow that person who's anti-union, who's anti-women, who's anti-minorities, and all of this other stuff that you know comes with that movement. We're going to take that woman and not allow her to defeat Abigail Spanberger, who is pro-worker, who is pro-women. Not only that, who is one of the most bipartisan Congress people in the House. The importance of coming out to that labor walk and putting forth the effort, because we're called to put forth effort. That's one less seat that we have to worry about. Our government right now is in a difficult place because we're teetering on the edge of some really dangerous things, where we can fall into fascism, authoritarianism. We're teetering in that direction. We're already in the midst of oligarchy, and we have to overthrow that as well. We don't want to have to fight on top of the oligarchy, on top of that, fascism. We don't want to have to do that. Besides, we're called again to oppose those things. But this is how you improve your community. You get out, you organize. So what am I doing? I'm organizing a labor walk on October 29th. It's going to be from 10 a.m. probably to 2 p.m. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring different factions of labor. We're going to bring educators together with electricians. We're going to reach out to other local unions to get their members involved as well. And we're going to have a labor walk to try to get the word out and to get the push out to elect Abigail Spanberger. In the description box, I'm going to drop the link to sign up for that labor walk. If you are a union member that considers themselves a real brother, a real member of the brotherhood, then I hope you consider volunteering, coming down to Stafford, knocking on some doors, handing out some literature, and getting this election won so that we can keep that seat pro-worker. And at the same time, we're going to push to pass the PRO Act. We're going to push hard to get that done. But these are the things that help you to improve your community, help you to improve your local union, and help you to improve your quality of life. My name is Eric. I hope you found this video informative. Please volunteer where you can, where you're at, when you can, and we got to do the best we can to improve our status. There's only a few ways to do it, but all of them take work. Keep in mind, the fight's not left and right, it's up and down. It's going to take solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. Peace.